are you? So here we are, Saturday, August 4, our shared human construct. I am speaking to you from New York City, and I'm continuing to answer questions from readers who are sending these questions in after reading You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self and Why It Matters. I thank you for participating in these conversations and joining me every day so that we can all expand not only the conversation but our awareness of fundamental reality. So today's question, Rishikesh is there. Nice to see you, Rishikesh. Today's question is from Trisha. She says, I'm 68 years old and I'm getting ready to get married to a wonderful man whom I love very much. We have gone together for almost 7 years. I have been married before, but it has been 35 years since my divorce. I can't seem to get rid of the fear of getting married again. If we make our own reality, as you talk in your book, and my intention is to marry him and want with all my heart to, then why can't I just let go of the fear? I reflect, meditate, and keep a journal. What advice do you have to help me conquer or overcome this fear? So let me start with general principles, okay? Let me start with general principles. And the first principle is that all emotions have evolutionary origins. That's the best word I can find. All emotions have evolutionary origins. And of course, evolution is about adaptation and survival, right? Evolution of species is about adaptation and survival. So even Darwin wrote about the evolution of emotions and the reason why we have emotions. By the way, emotions are a feature of mammals as far as biologists are concerned. They do not believe that rodents or reptiles have emotions. I'm not quite sure about that, but nevertheless, let's go with the fact that emotions are the result of experiences that animals have, and animals that are mammals. Mammals are so called because of the word mama, which means breast, which is the origin of the word mother, mater, mata, matrika, matrix, matter, and so on. So mammals, instead of laying eggs like rodents, they give birth to babies. They nurse their babies, they breastfeed their babies, they bond emotionally through touch and facial expressions and eye movements and body language and play. And this bonding is to ensure safety. It occurs through attention, affection, appreciation, acceptance. So, what did Darwin have to say about the reason we have emotions? He said the emotion that we call fear readies an animal for flight, so it can run away from its predator. He said anger readies the animal for combat with a predator as well. And then others have said guilt, shame, and humiliation are present in only those mammals that have a social hierarchy, a leader, and then up the scale, the rulers, and then, the business people, and then, workers, and so on. And so, these are emotions that occur in only those animals that have social structures. And what else? Depression, of course, is a result of the depletion of energy that happens with toxic emotions. So that's the evolutionary response, the evolutionary explanation of why we have emotions. In today's world, anger, hostility, fear, guilt, shame, depression actually are in many ways toxic and cause inflammation in the body. So inflammation in the body is a result of toxic emotions. And these toxic emotions, which means they're inappropriate, are learned phenomenon and occur as a result of some kind of threat to fundamental needs. These fundamental needs are things like survival and safety, love and belongingness, self-esteem, creative expression, higher consciousness, like intuition, archetypal expression, and ultimately self-actualization. Okay, so there's a kind of hierarchy of needs, beginning with survival and safety, love and belongingness. I forgot one, achievement, achievement of goals, and then self-esteem, and then creative expression, then intuition and higher guidance, and ultimately enlightenment. So when our needs are not met, starting with very fundamental needs that I've already said, attention, affection, appreciation, acceptance, and usually in childhood, then that results in fear. Fear is the anticipation of pain and suffering in the future. Anger is the remembrance of pain in the past. Hostility is the desire for vengeance or the desire for retribution. And then guilt and shame are directing the pain at yourself as a result of, you can say, social indoctrination. These are all learned phenomena. And depression is the depletion of energy as a result of all of the above. So you can see that they're all related to each other and they're fundamentally connected with not meeting our needs, right? Not meeting our needs. So how do we prevent these emotions from building up in our bodies? Because once they build up in our bodies, they give rise to inflammation, which is the common factor in many chronic diseases, including heart disease, cardiovascular disease. Also, there is inflammation as a background in many cancers, autoimmune illnesses, propensity to infections, premature aging. Think of any chronic illness, it's connected to chronic inflammation, low-grade inflammation, and that is indeed connected to toxic emotions. That is indeed connected to toxic emotions. So I'm going to relate to you some understanding of how to deal with toxic emotions, how to let them flush out from your system, and how to prevent them from happening in the future. And also I'm going to tell you some basic principles of cognitive therapy that help us to permanently be emotionally free. Emotional freedom simply means that you're not victimized by anger, hostility, guilt, shame, depression, and fear. And Trisha, this is general instructions, but I'm answering your question. Whatever happened in your previous marriage is the reason for the fear you now have from getting married again. So it all has to do with remembered pain. Okay, remembered pain. There are 7 steps in how we deal with emotions, and these are as follows. Number 1, responsibility. Number 2, witnessing the emotion and feeling it. Number 3, labeling the emotion. Number 4, describing the emotion. Number 5, sharing the emotion. Number 6, releasing the emotion. And number 7, celebrating the release and moving on. Okay, so these are the steps, and I'll come back to elaborating on these steps in a few moments. I'm coming back to elaborating on these steps in just a few moments, okay? So I was talking about the 7 steps to be free of emotions, to be emotionally free. And the first is responsibility. Remember, the word responsibility comes from the word ability and response. So responsibility means not blaming anyone else for your emotions. Even if you think it's somebody else's fault, you don't blame them, because once you blame them, then you have to wait for them to change so that you can feel better. And that might take a lifetime. People don't change when they want to change, and you're expecting them to change so you feel better is a little bit unrealistic. Ingrid Gomez and 51 others shared your video. Thank you, Ingrid. Okay, so step 1 is responsibility. The more creative your response to any challenge, emotional or otherwise, the more responsible you are. So first point is, don't be a victim. Don't place the blame on someone else. After all, these are your emotions, and only you can deal with these emotions. The second step is to witness or feel the emotion. So when you have had a previous episode that's been traumatic, emotionally traumatic, or a threat to your needs, then try and remember that experience. You can even close your eyes and remember that experience, see what happened, and hear the conversation in your head, recall the memory, and then at the same time feel your body. We call our emotions feelings because an emotion is a thought. A thought is in the mind linked to a sensation in the body. So an emotion is a feeling. You feel it in the body, okay? So now remember the episode that caused you to feel threatened, and then feel your body. And you'll find that when you feel the body, then somewhere in the body, in one of these 7 chakras, there's a sense of discomfort. Okay, fear and anger frequently are located either in the heart or in the stomach. And so once you've located the feeling, that's the second step. You're feeling it, you're witnessing it, then you give it a label. But don't give it a label that gives blame to someone else and therefore victimizes you. Don't say, I was abused, I was abandoned, I was threatened, I was let down, I was disappointed. Use emotionally intelligent words like I was angry, I was resentful, I was frustrated, I was sad, I was anxious or fearful. Those are all basically taking responsibility. Okay, so we've described first three steps: responsibility, witnessing, labeling. The fourth step is to describe the emotion and express it. And it's usually good to describe it in a way that is first person, second person, third person. So you can describe it or express it by writing down what happened first from your own point of view, second from the point of view of the other person, which is called empathy, and then thirdly from a third party point of view, somebody who's just neutral, let's say a reporter from the New York Times or something else. By the way, thank you all for sharing this video and sending me all these good wishes and beautiful emoticons, and you're helping expand the conversation. So express it in the first person, second person, third person. When you do that, the emotional charge, the energy starts to get diffused. It starts to get diffused. It's not so strong anymore because you've shifted perspective. You know, you're seeing the situation from your point of view, from the other person's point of view, from a third party point of view. Okay, now we've covered responsibility, witnessing, labeling, expressing it in those three modes. And you have now come to a place which is one of relief. Your inflammation is already starting to decrease and your immune system is starting to get optimized. Okay, now what the next thing is, you share it with someone you trust. In the old days, people used to go to confession and go to a priest. These days they go to a counselor, but you don't have to do that. If there's someone that is trustworthy in your life, whoever it is, a good friend, then share this whole experience with them without being a victim. First person, second person, third person. And if you don't have such a person in your life, then there's a serious problem, because we all need at least 2 or 3 people in our life that we can totally trust. Okay, so that's sharing the emotion. And now the time has come to release the emotion. And the best way to release the emotion, Jackie Rosenthal and 76 others shared. Thank you. So now, time has come to release the emotion, and the release is best done through a ritual. Ritual has a way of trapping the energy, localizing the energy, and then releasing it. So the ritual could be burning up that piece of paper in which you expressed yourself, flushing it down the toilet, going for a yoga session, releasing it through breathing, burying the paper in the ground, or whatever ritual you like. You can offer it to a deity. In a church, you can go and offer it, if you're a Catholic, to Mother Mary, or whatever ritual that is good for you. But now you'll remember that you did this ritual of release, and that is a very important factor in releasing the emotion. And then step number 7 is now you celebrate the release. Go out, see a movie, go for dinner, maybe have a glass of champagne or whatever. Okay, now these are the 7 steps. And once you get used to these 7 steps, they can happen in a very short time. And that is, before you react to any situation, you observe your reaction to react, you push the pause button, and then you immediately shift perspective to all ways of looking at that emotion. First person, second person, third person. Also you feel your body and you let it go. Okay, so you go back to the state of flow. Flow is no resentment, no regrets, no anticipation, no resistance, just this moment as it is. And now you have moved on. Okay, now I also suggest some form of cognitive therapy for those who've been struggling with this for a long time, or read something that has been written about in popular literature. Katie Byron has or Byron Katie, I always forget what's her first name, is Byron Katie. She's written this wonderful book called The Work, and basically she says when you have a emotion that's limiting you in any way whatsoever, then remember it's a thought linked to a sensation. And so you ask yourself, you write down the limiting thought, you ask yourself, is it true? Yes or no? You ask yourself, I'm 100% sure if it's true, yes or no. And you ask yourself, what is holding on to this thought doing to me? And you write down the answer. You write down, who would I be without this thought? You write down the answer. Then you pick a thought that is directly opposite of that. So if the emotion is fear, you write down, I am in love. Love and fear do not go together. And so here we are. So many ways to remain free of emotional toxicity, and after a while it should just become totally automatic, so that you're never triggered into a reactive response. The more you override your reactive responses, the more you override the fight and flight response, the more you stay centered in awareness. And remember that the awareness of a thought is not a thought, that most of our thoughts are actually, almost all of our thoughts are recycled collective unconscious conditioning. Then you let it go. We say next. Just settle into awareness. The more you settle into awareness, and the less you identify with that particular thought that is troubling you because it's just recycling through you, then love influences, and 97 others shared your video. So happy that you're doing this. So we're all connecting with each other and learning to be emotionally free, which is so needed in this world today. Okay, so the more you stop identifying with a thought, knowing that it is unconscious conditioning and the recycling of other people's thoughts and a learned phenomenon, then the more you settle in awareness, the more centered you are. Then your responses will not be reactive, they will be more intuitive, more creative, more visionary, and ultimately actually everything will just flow by, and you will stay centered, creative, loving, empathetic, compassionate, and joyful. Joe, thank you for sharing. So many people are sharing these thoughts with each other, and I'm very grateful that we are actually all learning how to not only be emotionally free but emotionally intelligent. so that we have a deep connection with our true self, and also we have a deep understanding of truth and goodness and beauty and harmony and love and compassion and joy and equanimity and inseparability. Okay, so I hope I've answered your question, and we'll let it go for today, and I'll see you tomorrow. If you want to go over the 7 steps, then revisit this video and try and practice what we have shared today. Try and practice, because theory and knowledge without deeper experience is not going to help you. We need the knowledge, but we also need the experience. We need the experience, and we also need the knowledge. Okay, cheers, see you tomorrow, and thanks for supporting You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self, and Why Do Matters. Bye.